Hey guys, what's up? Evo Raymond McLean for live once again, and I'm back for more videos and more movie reviews. And today I'm gonna review and talk about another Kurt Russell movie. And of course, today I'm going to talk about his Escape from New York 1981, which was written and directed by John Carpenter. I think he was also producer in this movie, and stars Kurt Russell, Lee Van Cleef, and Isaac Hayes, and of course Adrienne Barbeau, she's in the co-star, and Henry Dean Stanton, I think it's the actor who plays the brain, Harold, one of Kurt Russell's ex-friends, and Escape from New York is considered by many of the fans the best movie ever. That's actually, it's actually a post-apocalyptic, it's actually a futuristic movie in the apocalypse, in the which set in the future, and whole island, New York, Manhattan Island of the New York is actually this maximum prison, and only one man, and criminals lives there, and that's actually mostly the plot is, but I didn't go that much into it. Escape from New York, like I said, is considered by many people classic, by many people one of John Carpenter's best films. But I don't think this movie is a classic. I think this movie is decent. I think this movie is a good movie. It's a good movie. It's a decent good movie. That's just me. But I know many will disagree with me. Many will say, "How dare you say it's not a classic?" In my opinion, I don't think it's a classic. I think it's a good movie. And yeah, Kurt Russell praised this movie. This is actually his favorite movie. I think he continue keeping the costume that he wore for this movie. And he says that Snake Plissken is actually his favorite character, and this is actually his favorite movie of his. It's not my favorite movie of Kurt Russell. It's not also one of my favorite John Carpenter films. It's not in top 10, definitely not. Now, John Carpenter is actually a master of, he's a master of the horror, of the sci-fi, of the action. He's a talented director. I love his style. He's unique, he's very inventive director, and he's a master. He's the king, he's best of the best, and there's a lot of John Carpenter fans, and he did also the music himself. And I have to say, I'll actually go into more deep into the movie. Don't worry, but yes, John Carpenter is one of the best directors. He did a fantastic job making a music score, wrote the story, and directed this movie. He's still a master in my opinion, and I'm always gonna praise till its day of him and his movies. But honestly, Escape from New York is not one of my favorite movies of his. That will be Big Trouble Little China, The Thing. Yes, the 1982 The Thing. There's also a movie that Prince of Darkness, The Fog, Vampires, They Live. Even the sequel is actually my favorite. Yes, the sequel, Escape from LA, I think it's very, very underrated. I actually like that movie a lot more. I like this movie, but the next one I like more. I also like Assault on Precinct 13, and In the Mouth of Madness 1994 with Sam Neill. I really like that film a lot. Those are actually my favorite John Carpenter movies. But I have nothing against Escape from New York. It's a good movie. So now I do have, I don't have the Blu-ray, but I do have, something like that with Snake Plissken Venture, which I have 2 discs. And this is actually Snake Plissken, played by Kurt Russell. There's nothing in the back. And this actually is the first movie. Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. And this is, of course, the sequel, which I do have to the films. And yeah, it's just, yeah, that's actually is the first movie. I don't have the movie on Blu-ray. I don't really care that much about getting the Blu-ray or 4K. But I'll actually go into the problems with the film, and I'll go into the story. So it's set in 1997. New York became a maximum prison. It was actually it's actually a maximum prison. Once you get in, you can get out. The only criminals lives there now. New York, the island of Manhattan is now cut from the United States, and prisoner and convicts and criminals live only there. No one lives there anymore. They actually send only criminals there, and President of the United States, played by Donald Pleasence. Pleasance, who played Dr. Sam Loomis in Halloween. In John Carpenter, he plays United States President. His Air Force One is kidnapped, hijacked, and the kidnappers crashed the airplane in Manhattan, but not before the president escaped with a tape. So now the government and his cops, played by Lee Van Cleef, he plays Bob Hawke. There's still war going on, and the U.S. government needs Mr. President, and they of course need the tape, because there's a war going on between Chinese and between Russian and Chinese, and because the president can stop the war by making peace, with the speech that he has on the tape. And the president, before his airplane crashed in Manhattan, he actually dropped himself off, with emergency ship. He dropped off, but he get caught by this gang, and the leader is actually the Duke of New York, number one. He calls himself number one, played by Isaac Hayes. Rest in peace. He was in the Rockford Files, and yeah, his president's been captured by this gang, which the leader is the Duke number one, and because the cops are not allowed, if they do that, the president is dead, and any hope for the future is also dead. So Bob Hawke goes and recruits one man, a bank robber. Snake Plissken, he's actually an anti-hero. He's a bank robber. He's a criminal. He and his few buddies robbed a reserve bank in Cleveland. Yes, it was in Cleveland, but he got arrested, and he's been captured. And he used to be in New York, but he escaped once. So he's actually a special forces member, youngest. I think he was lieutenant. He was the youngest soldier to be decorated by the president. I think he has 2 Purple Hearts, and yeah, he becomes a criminal, a scam, and he gives a mission. He has 24 hours to find Mr. President and the tape and bring them back safe, And Snake, he has no choice in order to gain his freedom. He accepts the mission, and he has only 22 hours. He actually has been injected with a little needle, and he has now 22 hours. If you try to double cross them, if he tries to escape, or it should turn out there's no more Snake Plissken, because he's gonna be dead. In order to get antidote, he has no choice. He has to land in New York, find Mr. President, the tape, and bring him safe back. Which is actually a suicide mission, and he's gonna get an antidote. If he doesn't, he's gonna die. So he goes with the airplane, lands on the World Trade Center in New York. And there's like tons of those Hannibals and murders, rapists. There are so many psycho scams, that Snake Plissken finds them, or meets them. And in order to get Mr. President, he finds out that the Duke of the number one of the New York, he has them, and he meets this cabby played by Ernest Borgnine. Rest in peace. And this cabby brings in to Harold the Brain, who works for the Duke, and of course Snake finds out that's actually his ex-partner who double-crossed them, and he says, He meets this girlfriend of his, Maggie. She works with him, the brain. So he makes a deal with both of them. He's gonna get them out of New York if they help him to get Mr. President. And they escape. So when they meet the Duke, there's a beautiful music score. And of course, Snake Plissken steals a car. They go to the Broadway. There's so many Hannibals. There's so many Hannibals. I forgot to mention Goes to Mars is also one of my favorite John Carpenter films. Everyone hates that film. I don't. I like that film a lot. But yeah, so they go to the Broadway. They go to this train station on the train. And when Snake tries to save, Mr. President, the other guy uses a crossbow, fires an arrow, shots him in the leg, and Kurt Russell grabs the knife, throws him right in the fucking face. And I love that great scene. That's one of my favorite scenes John Carpenter did. So he tries to escape with the president, gets captured. So then he goes, in this wrestling ring and starts fighting with this guy. In order, but when Brain, goes and he saves Mr. President, tries to escape with him. They crash the plane. So Snake goes, so they all four, they go to this bridge. They go actually to break themselves to this bridge, they escape from those passes, from those gangs, and the Duke goes after them. But not everyone survives, Brain gets killed, he steps on a fucking mine, he gets killed, he dies, the cabbie also dies, when they crashed on the bridge. And also Maggie, she gets hit with the Duke's car. Snake jumps on the Duke, fights him off, he tries to escape, but the president, he goes and he uses Snake as a bait, and he fires on the Duke and says, "Hey, number one," and fires with the shotgun. Actually, he fires with the machine gun and goes with that machine gun rifle and kills the guy, and of course, Snake gives them to the tape, and he gets the antidote. He saves himself. He asks Mr. President, "What are you gonna think about? Many people died," and the president says so weird stuff. Thank God for them. And yeah, so that mostly is, and when they try to play the tape, it's actually not the real tape, and Snake goes and destroys the tape on the end, and then the movie ends. That's the basic the plot is. I like the film, but I don't think it's a classic film, but it's a good film. But I did bring some of the films that I do think that are classic, that I prefer them, and I think they're definitely better than Escape from New York. But that's just me, my picks, my opinion. I thought that this movie is much better than Escape from New York. I think this movie is a classic, but that's just me. And I prefer this movie, I prefer this movie over Escape from New York. I prefer this movie over Escape from New York. I think this movie is a classic. I think it's a much better action film. I think this movie, which is the first one in the series, is much better film than Escape from New York. I think this movie is a classic. That's just me. And I also prefer this movie. I think this movie is a classic. And it's my favorite Kurt Russell film. Kurt Russell said no to Stallone when he asked him if they can do Tango Cash 2. He asked him. Kurt Russell said no. He doesn't give a shit about it. But he did a sequel to Escape from New York. It wasn't such a success that time. I would rather will have Tango Cash 2. That's just me. I would rather see Tango Cash 2. And of course, I would love to see Big Trouble in Little China 2. But Kurt Russell didn't care about those two films. He only cared about this film, which I think, everybody has their taste. But this is not my favorite film. Now, the action sequences, I read that some people think it's boring or overlong. I don't agree with that. It's not boring, it's not overlong, but it has problems. The movie still has problems. Now, it was, the budget cost this movie at the time, because it was filmed in the 80s, the budget cost $6 million. It was actually, it actually was worldwide made only $25 million. It wasn't such a huge success, Even The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China wasn't such a huge success. But still, this movie didn't do much money. Still considered being one of Carpenter's best films or greatest one. I don't think it's one of the greatest one. I think it's a good film. I think it's a decent. I like the film, but I don't love the movie to death. I already said that I prefer this movie. I said I love this movie more. This is my film. I love this movie more than Kurt Russell he did. I reviewed this movie. That's just me. I also forgot to mention, but I think this movie is a classic. Yes, this movie. I have a poster right there, but I'll show you the DVD because it's better. I think this movie is a classic. I think this movie is better. I think that these two movies are both better than Escape from New York, but that's just me. I think this movie, the many will disagree, is better than Escape from New York. That's just me. I think this movie is better than Escape from New York. I would rather watch this movie, But Escape from New York, like I said, is a good movie. And of course, I'll go with the problems because I haven't gotten the problems. Now, my problem with the film is the filming scenes. Yes, they filmed at night, but on this Blu-ray, not only Blu-ray, I think even on DVD, when they filmed the movies at night, I barely can see anything. I barely can see. There's a scene in the open scene when we can see everything by night. I thought that John Carpenter screwed this over because they could film at least at bright day so we could see, or he could at least have a better camera. I know it was a low budget, but there are many movies in the 80s that did much better job by filming, scenes at night, and we can still see them. These scenes are so lucky. They're so dark. I can barely see. And I even heard so many complaints, especially on the Blu-ray. People are blaming Blu-ray that it's way too dark and can see. It's not the Blu-ray. It's how John Carpenter filmed with the camera at that time. And like in the open scene, there's I think some guy with a helmet. And there's like a bridge, and there's like 2 or 3, 4 guys in the boat. I can't see them. And when this guy calls them off, turn around and don't go, fires a missile and they blow to pieces. I can't see anything. That scene, I can't see anything. There's another scene in the alley, which Kurt Russell sits on the chair. There's like a few guys moving. I barely can see anything there. He goes to this diner. He meets this woman. Barely I can see anything. Barely I can see an attackers. Some guys grabs her and they swallow her. I barely can see anything. I mean, the scenes in the alley are way too dark in my opinion. It was way too dark. That's one of the reasons why I don't think this movie is a classic. I think, if John Carpenter had a better camera, better money, he would make a much better film. Not that it was so dark that we fans can barely see. This movie has better scenes at dark, and people still shit on it. But this movie has better scenes at dark. This movie has better scenes at dark. And actually 4K doesn't do much better anything because there's still dark scenes in the alley. That's one of my problems with the film. The dark scenes are just taking me out of the film. Another problem is the Duke. Kurt Russell could have easily killed the Duke, but he doesn't, So he's been killed by president. Still, I like that Kurt Russell fights him off, but he doesn't kill him. That's another problem. I think that action scenes, especially the fight between the evil, it's lacking. And I don't know why the fuck he even destroys the tape on the end of the movie. I don't get it. And I'm not that much, I don't care about comics, and I'm not that much into the film, I don't care that much about comics. I think there is a comic books about Snake Plissken. It's just not my favorite character, John Rambo is my favorite character. John Spartan's my favorite character. John Matrix is my favorite character. John McClane is my all-time favorite character. Those are my favorite characters. As I said, Jack Burton's my favorite character. Chance Boudreau from Hard Target is my favorite character. Dalton from Roadhouse is my favorite character. Gabe Walker from Cliffhanger is my favorite character. Marion Cobretti is my favorite character from Cobra. Those are my favorite characters. Those are my favorite action heroes. Blade, I think it's Eric Brooks. Blade, he's my favorite character. Casey Ryback is my favorite character. Yes, Casey Ryback is my favorite character. This is my favorite character. Snake Plissken is not my favorite character, but it's still a good movie. Now, the best of the film that I love is the music score. We open scene, we have such a great music score. Music score is the best of this film. Yes, music score, all the music score from John Carpenter. He did a fantastic job, He did a great music score. I love the music score from Escape from New York. All the music score that John Carpenter did in this movie, he had a great 80s unique style, great style. So yeah, that's what I love about the film. Now, there's only two scenes that I thought are great. The scene when Snake Plissken, the first time meets President, tries to save him. This guy turns around with a crossbow and fires an arrow in Kurt Russell's leg. Kurt Russell grabs a knife, shows the guy knife right in the face. That's my favorite scene. That's the best scene. And another scene was when Kurt Russell was actually in a wrestling fighting this guy. He uses a baseball bat and there's like long, sharp metal dog tags, and he fights off this giant, and Kurt Russell in the end goes and stabs in the head, and kills him. That's the best in the scene. Those are two of my favorite scenes of the film. But the rest of the action scenes, when he steals the car and escapes or goes through the Broadway or he's escaping, I don't like that. I mean, it's just luck in my opinion. I mean, this movie could have much better action, but I think it's lacking. Now, I actually will rank this movie, I'll give 1 star to 5 stars, for the plot. I'll rank them, for the plot, acting performance, action sequences, the story, the plot, and I'll actually go, and of course the music. And the plot, I'll actually give 1 to 5 stars, so I actually gave 3 stars, because I thought that was a unique story in which, before John Rambo, he went, on the rescue mission. Snake Plissken goes on a rescue mission, his one-man army, and I just like that. That's actually 3 out of 5. I know I should give more stars, but I wish the action sequences could have much better. Action sequences 3 out of 5, 3 stars out of 5. Acting performance by the cast, Kurt Russell, I'll give 4 stars out of 5. Music score, I'll give 5 out of 5 stars. Filming location, filming scenes at night, 1 star out of 5, because that was, in my opinion, terrible. Especially on Blu-ray, I barely can see. Another scene when Duke the first time drives a car and he's chasing Snake Plissken, you can barely see his face. Until the next shot, under the light, you can see his face. But mostly when they filmed, it's way too dark. I can't see barely anything. I can't see anything in this film. It's so, I mean, maybe John Carpenter should have done 3D in my opinion. So maybe we could see at least there a better picture. That's one of my problems, with the releases and the dark scenes. They actually taking me out of the film, and I just can't see it. I'm surprised that no one complains about it. I read complaints about Blu-ray, but it's not with the Blu-ray. They can't do it right. They can't do it bright because John Carpenter filmed that scenes, and I'm sorry, but I'm really not that huge fan of this film. But doesn't mean I hate it. I liked it. It's a really good movie, a decent movie. And yeah, I can say that it's not my favorite John Carpenter film. It's not my favorite Kurt Russell film. But definitely a damn good one. I also don't have Big Trouble in Little China to show you because I actually give it to my friend, so he's gonna rewatch the film because we both love Big Trouble in Little China. I love Big Trouble in Little China to death. Escape from New York, I like the film. And it's actually the year is 1997 when the US president crashes into Manhattan, now a giant maximum security prison. and convicted bank robber sent in for a rescue. So that's basically is the plot. It's right there. But yeah, probably it's better the two. But I like the film. John Carpenter still did a great job, but I prefer other movies of his. But yeah, that's just me. But that's my movie review on Escape from New York. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon for the sequel. But take care. I'm out. Bye bye.